Righty then, Mason Mount looks like that's it. First one of the summer. I'm going to immediately apologise for the cough. I have got a Lemsip ready to go. A little bit rough today. But Mason Mount looks like he is going to be the first signing of Manchester United summer. And I think it's worth us looking at the 5 things that we should expect from Mason Mount as a Manchester United player. That sound like a plan? Let's do it. First up then is versatility. Now, we know he's played out wide. He's actually played on both wings. He's played behind the striker and he's played in midfield. And he's actually been at an elite level in all of those sort of positions. That's not something that you should be shocked at. And I think that's actually something you should probably expect to see in a United shirt. I think he's going to be asked to play a lot deeper than he would sort of be associated with doing at Chelsea. I think he's going to look like a bit of a mobile number 8. And I think he's someone that Ten Hag's going to really relish having because of the versatility that he brings. We saw Christian Eriksen deployed in a slightly different role than we've seen him previously in the Premier League in playing for Manchester United. And I think as good as Christian Eriksen was, we did see him tire and we did see his energy sort of not quite be able to keep up with the likes of City and Brighton, for examples. I think the level of versatility that you're going to get out of Mason Mount allows for tactical flexibility across the rest of the squad. He's the sort of player that can almost account for a couple of players in depth because he has the ability to be able to slot into a couple of positions and do it to a high degree of competency. Flexibility can be a big problem solver when it comes to rotation, to injuries, to suspensions, to form issues. At Chelsea, Mount was... positional versatility allowed him to get a wealth of high-level experience. He's not even 25. He's already played 12,000 minutes in the Premier League and the Champions League since he broke into the first team, which is actually more than any other player at the club. You can't knock that. And number 2, and I think this, for me, is the big reason why. This plus the goal output, which we'll talk about next. The work ethic of Mason Mount, I think, is like the top of the list of the reasons why we've seen Erik Ten Hag pull the trigger on this one. Last season, only Havertz managed more off-the-ball runs for Chelsea in the Premier League. That points to the energy, the enthusiasm, that willingness, that attitude to run, which you can't really train into someone. And he brings a really reliable high energy off the ball as well, having applied an average of 12.8 pressures in the middle third per game last season, second most of any Chelsea player, only behind Conor Gallagher. And Mount offers a significant upgrade in the amount of defensive actions per 90 for United. Much better athleticism, much better pressing, much better closing down, much better work rate and overall coverage of space. And even with the really good attacking numbers that he's got, arguably the greatest upside of Mount's arrival is going to be the defensive tenacity that he brings on a counter press. It's very, very easy to see, once you drill into the defensive numbers, why Ten Hag wants him and what we're going to get out of him. Ten Hag seemed to be struggling sort of filling that number 8 position last season because there wasn't really any athletic off-the-ball midfielders that had technical ability. You can play McTominay, you can play Fred, but you're going to be giving up something on the ball with those 2 players. What you're going to get out of Mason Mount is the same sort of level of intensity as Fred, I would say. Not McTominay, that's a different sort of defensive physicality. But you'll get the same sort of defensive output that Fred gives you, but you'll get it with far greater technical ability and far more output when it comes to goal scoring and goal creation. Which brings us to point number 3, output. In his final season, he was affected a little bit by injury, not having a stable position, and also Chelsea completely shitting the bed and having to deal with Frank Lampard as manager. But in the 21-22 season, 11 goals, 10 assists in the Premier League, only one of 3 players to do so that season. He ranked in the 93rd percentile for progressive passes with 6.23 per 90s, the 97th percentile for passes into the box. He makes things happen. His set-piece delivery is another bonus as well. He's provided 13 assists from dead ball situations across the last 5 years, and only 4 players in the Premier League have supplied more than that. You can't knock that. Creativity as well. I think he is capable of threading through a killer pass when the opportunity arrives. His delivery from the wide areas is particularly good. He's got 4.8 crosses per game, and he's happy to make underlapping runs into the channel to get into those dangerous crossing positions as well, and I think you'll see quite a lot of that. Number 4, character. Now, by all accounts, Mason Mount is a very professional player, and he fits well into a positive team ethos. Good teammate. He's got pre-existing relationships with the English lads at the club. There is an air of confidence about him, a belief, and I think you need that to play for Manchester United. He knows what it takes to play for a big club. I don't think he's going to be overawed. He's played in the biggest of games. He's contributed in the biggest of games. And he has a supreme tactical discipline and understanding. I think he's a very intelligent player, and it looks like he takes instructions really well. Which leads us to the last point. It's the pressure and the expectation. Any signing for Manchester United brings with it an element of pressure. No club is scrutinised in world football to the level and degree that Manchester United are, and therefore no signings are scrutinised to the level of degree that Manchester United signings are. All eyes are going to be on him. All performances are going to be poured over with a fine-tooth comb. The price was a little bit higher than I think everyone would have been completely comfortable with, but at 55 million... that's fine. You know, if United have overpaid for what we've just got, then I think Arsenal have generally completely overpaid with what they're getting out of Rice, especially when you consider the comparative European level of experience that both Rice and Mount have as well, and similar circumstances with regard to their clubs. Has he got what it takes to rise to playing for Manchester United? Because it is a step up from Chelsea, whether he likes that or not. What are the expectations on him? What do you think, and this is my question to you guys, what do you guys think justifies a good season out of a Mason Mount? United did make progress last season. Expectations on the club are probably going to be more than just top 4 and the League Cup this season. I think we're going to be expected to progress from the Champions League group, maybe find ourselves in a quarters, maybe even a semi, but I think that might be a little bit giddy. I think quarters would be the low tide mark that we would be looking to accept in the Champions League. I think United should look to try and get to cup finals. Ten Hag has proved that he's capable of doing that, you know, at least in several competitions. So I think we should probably look to be in the FA Cup final again. If not, retain the League Cup. That'd be a nice little start to get that trophy dealt with early doors. And I want to be closer. We came third, but we were a little bit out on our own. Admittedly, we were a little bit away off Arsenal, who tossed off all the rest of the competitions. They're not going to be allowed to do the same this season. Manchester City are going hard in the transfer market already. Expect them to be runaway favourites, but you've also got to consider Chelsea will be in the mix, especially with no European football. Liverpool won't be quite as bad. Newcastle are going to be in and around the area. And who knows what could happen to Brighton. I think they've been picked apart, so might struggle, but you never know. What is the expectation on Mount? What is the expectation on United? All of our signings are expected to just hit the ground running. They don't get any settling in time. Mount, with Premier League experience, he's going to be right in the middle of that. He's going to have to hit the ground running and start making an impact. Can he do it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.